Hi everyone, this is Paul Fouché, Chief Investment Officer at New Road Capital, just giving you your July market update. So all in all, a really strong and positive month across different asset classes. If you look at local equities, the all share up 3.9% through the month. Developed market equities up 1.8%, and then emerging markets lagging at up 0.4%. So really a strong performance from South African equities. If you look at valuations, South African equity is still looking really good from a valuation point of view. We're still sitting, even with a really good market performance over the last few months, we're still sitting at a forward PE of 10 times, which is quite low by historical standards on South African equities. So still we are quite excited about that opportunity. But even on the global equity side, we're still seeing really good economic numbers and things coming out of that sector as well. So all in all, pretty positive on equity still. If you look at inflation coming out of the US, so inflation has now come down to 3%. So very close to that kind of target range of around 2. The US Fed did meet towards the end of July on their Fed rate decision, and they kept it unchanged as expected, but definitely a lot of rhetoric and a lot of talking about the next cut in September being a 25 basis point cut. So the market seemed to have liked that, and you did see all markets rallying in the last day of July quite strongly. Just local all share was up 2%, but offshore US equities were also up 2% on the back of that news. If you look at the bond, if you look at local inflation, firstly, looking pretty good. So local inflation coming in at 5.1%. So it's a sort of, in the middle of the band of 4.5 to 6%. So inflation definitely under control. And you will see those rates coming down. If the US starts to drop rates, you will see us following. So quite exciting over the next few months. We could see 1 or 2 rate cuts this year. But it all depends on those what the Fed does in September. The rand dollar, so it was quite volatile through the month, but if you look net month to month, it was actually almost exactly flat through the month of July. So the rand did start to weaken off a little bit, but then during the rest of the month, slowly, progressively sort of strengthened and ended the month at 18.20 to the dollar. If you're looking at South Africa, US bond spreads have come down a bit, and we'll talk about the bond market, but bond spreads down at about 5.3% from a high of about 6.5%. And part of that's just attributable, and we've been talking about it for a while, the attractiveness of South African bonds. After the elections and the establishment of the GNU, you've seen a lot of foreign investment and interest into our local bonds, and our ALBI returned 4% for the month of July. Really a phenomenal return in the bond market, and something that the funds really benefited from. And we still see further strength and upside on that going forward. If you take into account that we're still, at the top of an interest rate cycle, when you start to see those interest rates dropping, that's going to be a huge tailwind for the bond market as well. So ALBI up 4% for the month, really star performer. But if you look at local bonds as well, so the G7, that's the biggest 7 economies in the world, their bond market was also up 3% for the month. So really just across the board, equities and bonds, a really positive month. The funds have done very well off the back of that. We have made some small portfolio changes in our portfolios over the month. So we did sell a little bit of local equity into the strength that we've seen, and just bought sort of upweighted a little bit on the offshore bond side. We actually do think offshore bonds, specifically US long-term bonds, looking forward from here, have the potential to do really well into the future. And they also provide a nice hedge into the portfolios. They de-risk them slightly if there is any unforeseen volatility coming through in the markets over the next while. The funds will be better positioned to handle that volatility with the offshore treasury. So a couple small changes, but we're really happy with how the portfolios are looking, happy with the month, and we look forward to what the next month has to offer. As always, feel free to reach out to me or one of the team, and we're happy to assist you with any queries. All the best until next time. Have a good month. Bye.